Hello and welcome to another CR Wrestling commentary, and the video playing is by AEW BOTCHES. And if you're a little annoyed with the cover up of the words over it, it's because you want to really see it without all the stuff on it. Then it's a good way to get you to go to their YouTube channel or their Twitter. Well, how about or their Twitter? And I'll put both of those links in the description. But the reason I'm showing this, and this is just part one of something that's been seen hundreds of times, part one of 7, and it's on a loop in case I go long with this. But the thing is, I do want to explain how modern wrestling is killing wrestling. Okay, now for those out there that's already going to be hating on me just because I'm picking on their precious AEW, I honestly ask you to give me this little bit of time to explain, because I do sympathize and empathize. You got your product, you got the thing you like, and you don't want to see it go away. You think it's funny, you think it's fun. These people are trying to have they want to provide for their families, yada, yada, yada. I get it. The truth is, I need to explain something. You can't do this. A bunch of botches. No one could do a highlight of these botches. AEW has not been around not even 3 years. Not 3 full years yet. And there are numerous botches and injuries every year. I want you to think about this. Really think. Just think about it. Before AEW, finding botches and injuries, that was not common. You had to find it. It had to be reported. Somebody had to call it out, because professionally trained people know how to cover up certain mistakes. They know how to do that. So you don't know what's happening or when. That's a good thing. They get hurt, yeah. They miss a move, yeah. And then others, they what? Call an audible, take advantage. AEW is plagued with stuff like this. It's because they're not trained. They're not trained properly. It takes 2 people to perform any one move. And I'm talking about something as simple as a punch. It takes 2. And when it comes to this stuff, AEW is horrific at a great deal of it. Now, a lot of you can easily say, hey, a lot of you got to really think about it, okay? They do a lot of shows. They've got a bunch of offshoots. So you'll eventually find, slip-ups here and there. Yeah. But when you're professionally trained, your screw-ups have to be looked for. They have to be sought out. It's not so obvious. I'm still a wrestling fan. I don't have insider eyes like those who've been in the business for 10, 15, 30, and 40 and 50 years. I don't have that. So if I can see a mess up, it must be a legit and terrible screw up. Modern wrestling is about spots. It's about trying to make someone look good when you don't know how to make someone look good. Modern wrestling has the attempt at something great, but has no training, forethought, self-awareness on how to do such a thing. That is the problem. Now, while I enjoy seeing a nice, long, competitive match where wrestlers go back and forth, when every single match is like that, that's when you kind of lose the thrill of the match. Because now you just want to see who's going to do what, when they're going to do it. You're not worried about, is this person going to win? Is this person going to lose? Are they screwed out of whatever it is? You're more worried about, are they looking good in the ring? Do they have nice gear? And I just want you to understand, professional wrestling is based on, how does the match start? What key elements during that match get the fans going? And most importantly, how does that match end? Very important things. And that's just the basis. Okay, I'm not going into reactions. I'm not going into the insider terminology of selling and all that. Just as a fan, how does this match begin? What key moments are in it, and how does it end? So when you have a match going and they don't know what to do, and they're just trying to get spots instead of wrestle, you get injuries, you get screw ups, you get stuff that look phony, fake, and everything. And yeah, we know it's a work. We know it's not real. But you know what is real? Every single injury, every single screw up, every single phony, fake looking thing. And as I said, this is on the loop, so after 7 minutes, in case it goes long, it will start over, which will be in a minute. That's what's happening. And you're looking at it on this right here alone. It's horrible. You know, and just in case I can't show it because YouTube it might be some copyright thing, that's why I'm linking it as well. These things are horrible. I'm looking at a lot of this for the first time because I don't watch AEW. I've seen a few of them and I have not liked anything I've seen. And that sucks because I love professional wrestling. And modern wrestling is about your spots. So what do? You literally shortchange the match. You can't be a spot monkey and have a good match. It is impossible. Okay, he just elbowed his leg and he's selling his groin. Okay, hadn't seen that. That's just dumb. Any case, yeah, and that was the end of it. Of that one. It's starting over. So I didn't see. That's just when you have a great match. For example, let me explain. In brief, I will go through a very short match because if I go through a modern match, I'll be talking for 3 times as long as I've already been talking. So, in general, 2 wrestlers into the ring. It doesn't matter who. It doesn't. They're generic wrestlers, okay? Edit. That's all they are, you know. You don't shout a name, you just shout edit, or created wrestler, created wrestler, we go for you. Okay. What happens is they lock up in the middle of the ring, collar and elbow tie up. They push each other around. They try with the headlocks, arm drags. They go through that. A few body slams, things like that. Toe kicks, chops, elbows. They go through the whole gambit little by little. Okay. After maybe about 30 seconds to a minute or two of that, you go into the more or less back and forth of not spots, but maybe 1 to 3 signature moves, techniques, holds, strikes, something. And the reason that they aren't done back to back to back is because there's stuff done in the middle that's called reactions. So they have the reactions. They get hit, they stumble, person goes after them. It might take about 7 seconds or maybe even 15 seconds in between each strike because one got to fall, the other's got to go after him, yada, yada, yada. Wash, rinse, repeat. You do a few signature things. Both wrestlers get a few things in because you don't want to throw everything out there for everyone because you want to have something saved for later in your wrestling career. And after this, maybe you're probably at the 4, 5, or 6 minute part of the match. Roughly, about to start closing out. So, or some say it's almost time to go home if you want to be insider knowledge. Any case. So, what happens then? Now you get into more of the heat of it. The heavier hitting stuff. Either somebody's going to be the real bad guy or someone's going to be a really good guy. Now, if you're the bad guy, the good guy's probably making a great comeback right about now, right? The face making a great comeback, looking really good. And then all of a sudden, You push the good guy towards the ref. Ref turns around because you don't want to get hit. You're scared. Low blow. Roll him up. Ref turns around. Oh, crap. I got to count because I got to do my job. That's the panic of the ref. Oh, man, I got to do my job. 1, 2, 3. You're mad. The face just got screwed. Or the heel's doing well, cheating and whatnot, but not necessarily cheating, just strong roughhouse stuff that a face wouldn't do. Raking the eyes on the boots and grinding the elbow into the eye, put them in the abdominal stretch and punching them in the ribs, stuff like that. That's the idea. And even though all that's done and the ref tries, throws the heel throws the face into the ref turns around, the heel tries to get the low blow. The face spins around, sees it, but it's doing more of a pivot, subtle standing switch. Grabs the heel, puts him either in a schoolboy, an O'Connor roll, German suplex, or submission hold, or throw to the ropes, go to a sequence and get a pin or something. And then they get the win. You're happy. The crowd's happy. The face just overcame adversity. Your typical 6 to 9 minute match. And some don't even go that long. Some could be 2 or 3 minutes, depending upon how that wrestler look and what their style should or need to be. So when it comes to that, that's how a wrestling match needs and or should go. But what happens in modern wrestling is not that. In modern wrestling, you literally make sure everyone looks weak. You make sure they look weak. And that's the problem. You get somebody doing a high diving Scorpio splash off the top rope and someone kick out. No, that's a legit finisher. This ain't a video game. It's not a video game. So they stay down unless someone saves them. They have to be saved. That's the only way. If you did a standing move, standing shooting star, or Scorpio splash or frog splash, okay, I can see him kicking out of that. That seems reasonable. It looks good, but at the end of the day, it's a splash, just like anything else. I know that's oversimplifying it, but when something looks really good, stay down. But instead, they kick out. Then they hit them with a driver type move. They kick out. A German suplex. They kick out. So their finishers aren't even finishers. They just look good. The longer a match goes, the higher the chance of an injury or something. I don't see too many arm drags, back drops, back body drops, things like that. I don't see too many, forearm shivers or strikes. I don't see too many, other strikes on the times that I've watched AEW. I don't see that. And it's not just AEW that does this. WWE does it as well. You don't short sell finishers and or signatures. Signatures need to look good, but no signature needs to be a finisher. And that's how modern wrestling is killing wrestling. Because wrestling isn't dead. Even though it's still all known and exposed, it's not, because people thirst for not the old traditional ways. It's okay to modernize things. It's okay. But this concept of modern wrestling is not the way at all. Get them trained. Get them actually trained on how to not only deliver, but to take the move so that they are safe. Instead of hitting spots and things like that, wrestle. Wrestle. AEW is trying to be a hybrid. Listen, AEW is trying to be a hybrid of Lucha Libre, the assumed what Lucha Libre is, a mixture of New Japan Pro Wrestling, and bring back the Attitude Era, which is what I call call it Attitude Era Wrestling. It's trying to be that kind of hybrid. The longevity matches of a New Japan signature match or high profile match. All of the flips and rolling and things like that from Lucha Libre. And then all the nostalgia and stuff that was done during the Attitude Era of WWF. They're trying that. And the fans are like, yay, we remember some of this. And we love Lucha Libre. And we love how the matches are so competitive in New Japan. But they're not thinking. And that is the issue. The fans are dictating this, not the wrestlers, not the promoter. The wrestlers are dictating the promoter, and the promoter is allowing it because the promoters remember, yay, I liked it back then, although they didn't know anything. Modern wrestling is, in my judgment, my honest, strong judgment, is horrible. It's nasty. It kills. Look, listen, you might be mad at that, but I want to tell you something that might perk you up a little bit. If this modern wrestling stopped and they got back to professional wrestling and they legitimized wrestling like it used to be, then they would make a whole lot more money. They would say they would be far less injury prone. They wouldn't have to miss spots because they would know how to do the spots. And the spot, there should be no more than 2 major spots per match. That's it. Unless it's a title match and you've gotten accustomed after all of your matches together how to hit those 2 and maybe a few others. It takes 2 to tango. And if you got 2 people that's never done the tango trying to do the tango, it don't look like a tango. I'm just letting y'all know that. People want to see professional wrestling. Modernized wrestling is not good. You go back to the traditional ways, add a few flips, add a few things here and there, but not the whole time. And might I add, make sure you don't bury not the referee as well, but your own moves. If you make your moves legitimate, it starts to come back. The people get more into it. That puts more butts in the seat, eyes on the prize. And here's some cases in point. The followers of the indie wrestlers of Omega and the Bucks, they're the people that got AEW more or less on the map. Those fans. But they're not professional wrestling fans. They're spot monkey fans. They're gimmick fans. And I ain't talking about a gimmick like Undertaker or, Shawn Michaels or The Rock, Steve Austin, Cactus Jack, Sting, Luger, Flair, Doom, Road Warriors, Steiners. See, those people, those weren't gimmicks. Gimmicks, when you act so fake, you can see right through it. It doesn't look like it's you. Especially when someone says, wow, look at this guy, he never breaks character. Kenny Omega said that. You don't ever do that. I want to point that out to y'all. These are things that kill wrestling. It's killing it. And I know that a lot of you love what is here, but this isn't it. These people should not be on TV. They should not be given the time of day. They really shouldn't. And just to be honest with you, I do my CR Fire Pro and whatnot mainly because I've never been well enough to do wrestling. But I can promise you this, it's a guarantee. If I was a professional wrestler, I would be one of the greatest heels out there. My life has taught me how to do that. And if you think I wouldn't be one of the greatest heels, for those of you that love your AEW, think about how mad you are at me, even though I'm saying reasonable stuff. Imagine if I went out there and really talked that trash. I will toot my own horn using somebody that I don't talk to anymore because they had to keep disrespecting me and my woman. Disrespecting me would have got me mad. I would have said something, but then you disrespecting my woman, you know, you get blocked. I don't talk to you. Didn't even offer an apology. But this person, he had a wrestler named Kano, or has one. He was in a different E-Fed. He was in the E-Fed. And in that E-Fed, he did promos. And he said he wanted to be one of the top heels there. And I said, you can be the top heel. You just got to speak truth. Because that's what a heel does. They look at the environment. They speak truth to what they don't like. They get the fans hating them. He did that. I mean, it wasn't like he gonna come up with the idea himself, because you know he's a thief as well, and that sucks. But I knew that going into it way before he even knew what he was. And what happened? Yeah, the fans were pissed with his character, but then, you know who else was pissed? The people that created wrestlers. Those that are on the inside were pissed with him, because he was calling out how weak and stupid their style was. He didn't make his character what's called cement when you try to make him unbeatable. He just made his character into a more modern professional wrestler. Literally what a modern professional wrestler should be. And go for the pin on your big moves, your finishers and whatnot. That's what he did. That's all he had to change. He didn't cheat anywhere. In fact, he actually weakened his wrestler in other areas. And they could barely beat him. He had a high win rate. And they had to ask him what he did. And he simply told them he made a wrestler. He turned his person into a professional wrestler. And lowered a lot of his stats. And they were pissed. They were so much of a mark for their own crap that they didn't realize that he cut promos and they fell right into it. The company fell into the promos. That's how good he was doing things. And all he had to do was just tell the truth, like I said. He didn't shit on the company not one time. He didn't bag on the company. No, just the wrestlers he was in the feud with. That's all he did. That's how much of a mark that they are. They got mad and kicked him out and screwed him over. So in that E-Fed, he goes down as the great. So great that they marked out for his promos. To mark out means to believe it, not go crazy, but to believe it. Your level of belief, that's on you. But they believed it. And he is nowhere on my level of talking trash. Nowhere. In closing, I want AEW to keep employing people, to give people an income to feed themselves and or their family, to open up the doors for other people that other companies just don't want or can't use anymore. But I do want AEW to hire trainers and force these wrestlers to listen. And listen to the training, listen to the advice, because they are on record saying that they don't listen and they don't want to listen. They are on record for that. And those are people you cannot have promoting your company. You are the boss of your company and your talent says, I'm not listening to anyone that knows what they're doing. That is next level stupid. That is next level stupid. It's really no different than going to school, learning all this stuff, and then when you get out of school, you act like you don't know. And then you got to go back and get refreshed, and then you get mad because you got to learn. It's next level stupid. I want this company to succeed, but I want them to succeed the right way. They don't need to be old school NWA and be all like that. They don't need to be bland and boring like it might have been or seemingly back in the 50s and 30s. But when I look back on those matches back in those days and those eras, NWA and stuff that was before my time of cognition, but I was looking. But when I look back at that stuff, I realized they knew what they were doing. And that was part of the wrestling business, to keep people that are in AEW out of it so that they don't ruin it and expose it. And yes, there are things in the past where it was just dumb and stupid and whatnot. I understand. And they dealt with it then, immediately and harshly. And we're missing that. I hope that you understand all that I've said. And if there's some clarity that I need to make somewhere, please have no problem. Look, put it in the comment section. What did you mean when you said this? Or I didn't understand such and such. It's okay. I'm not going to bite your head off. You know, if I got something wrong, let me know what. And if you're going to say the whole thing, then I personally and honestly say, go fuck yourself. You can go die in a burning cat. I don't give a shit for your trolling. I want intellectual, decent-minded people that's going to ask reasonable questions, you know, and be cool about it. I'm not hurting you. You don't need to hurt me, right? This isn't AEW. This is CR Wrestling. And thank you for listening. Goodbye for now.